Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ryan Knuppel here, episode 234 of the Knup Sports Show. Hope you're doing really well today. Everything is good here. We are football heavy. We are in the middle of football season now, well, the beginning of football season, but week 2 is amongst us. As of recording, it's Thursday night football coming tonight, so super excited for that. Hope you're all doing really well and enjoying the beginning of football. I got another amazing guest here for you today. I'm super excited to dive into this show and understand a little bit about what they are up to. But first, if you're heading to SBC Summit in Lisbon, that is only a couple weeks away. So if you're heading to that event and don't have tickets yet, make sure you use our promo code. We are media partners. So you can get a nice little discount, get a little money off if you haven't got your tickets yet. I won't be going, sadly. I will not be making Lisbon, but going to G2E. I'll be at G2E in October. So would love to see any of the audience there. Make sure to shoot me a message and we can connect. All right, that's all for the beginning housekeeping stuff. Let's go ahead and bring on our guest. I'm super excited to talk to Jonathan Gruber of Loserball today. Jonathan, how are you?
I'm good. I want to go to Lisbon.
I do too. I wish I was going to Lisbon. I'm not going, but it sounds like an amazing show. Never been to Lisbon, actually.
Oh, it's great. It's a great place. Portugal is lovely. I'm sure this time of the year also. It's reasonably priced also.
Oh, yeah. That's refreshing to hear. This time, everything doesn't seem reasonably priced these days. Everything's expensive. Everything. So, anyway, Jonathan, excited to dive in here. How you doing, my friend? Whereabouts are you living in the? Are you in the United States?
I am. I'm in Silver Spring, Maryland, outside of Washington, D.C.
Amazing. I'm down in Orlando, Florida here, living the Florida dream. I guess supporting my Gators, who after week 1 they were brutal. Bounced back last week, but not a real good team. So anyway, we won't get into that. They were losers the first week, which we're a little pun on, a little play on words for what we're going to get into here in a bit. But Jonathan, let's dive into you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Let us know what makes you tick, what you do for work, and kind of leading up to Loserball, and what made you get going with that.
Sure. Well, it seems like growing up in New York and being a Red Sox fan and going to Syracuse, that my whole life has been leading to Loserball. We, I've had, the Red Sox have done well, but all you can remember as a fan, no matter how many championships your teams have, it seems that it's the losses and the heartbreaking losses that really stick with you more somehow. Maybe that's a metaphor for life. But so we wanted to take the concept of losing and just sort of all these wacky things that happen in football and turn it on its head and root for that. Not just be like, oh, that's a bummer, but like embrace the craziness. It all started probably 25 years ago. A friend of mine, we decided that fantasy was just too complicated and too serious for us. So we said, let's pick a team, and whoever loses the most games is the winner, and you'll win some sort of swag, some fleece or a stop sign or a rain poncho from that team. And so that was fun to root against teams. But what was equally as fun was the banter, was sort of the sports cliches turned on their head. Like, oh, my team is the home field disadvantage this week. Or, he really brought his D- game. And just total straight face. We like to say we're the Monty Python of fantasy football. And eventually I wound up picking the dynasty that is the Cleveland Browns of about 6-7 years ago, the Johnny Manziel years. And I had a three-peat. I won 3 years in a row. They had the perfect season. They lost all their games. And I went to Cleveland for the parade. And it was just awesome, even though it was -5 degrees. And I thought maybe there's something in fantasy for this. And so started noodling around, making it a little bit more detailed, not just winning and losing, but different categories of suckiness, during the game, and coming up with an algorithm and talking to actuaries. And so I had something in place. Then COVID came, so that kind of put a halt to things. And I guess a couple of years ago, I was like, let me see if I can make this a go. So I went to the Fantasy Sports and Gaming Association conference in Las Vegas in 23 in February, and just met some folks. It's a great group of people, and kind of a more intimate conference, not like SBC. Sure. It's got a different vibe, and just tried it out, and people didn't laugh me out of the room. They were like, maybe it's been kind of done. I was like, no, I don't think, it's like that. Sometimes there's all sorts of bogey prizes for people who are trying to win but come in last place. This is not what we're doing. We are trying to, pick the losers. And anyway, so then there was a summer conference for FSGA in Cleveland, of all places. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go there and I'm going to take part in their elevator pitch.
Yeah.
They do. And we won the elevator pitch. So that was really validating and gave me a little bit of notoriety in the community. And then I thought, well, we got to keep moving on that energy. So last December, we did a beta. We connected with a dev shop called Band of Coders, and they're great. And the last 3 weeks of the season and the first 2 weeks of the playoffs, we ran a test. And what's different, in addition to the losing, we're simplifying it. You pick teams. You pick 3 teams a week. There's no players. There's no salary caps. And you're just rooting for the teams to stink. And obviously players are making those plays. But so what we've got is all these categories, from incomplete passes on the offense to missed field goals, to sacks given up, to penalties, and they're all weighted based on how frequent they happen in the game. So -1, points given up is -1.
Yeah.
Sacks allowed is -9 because it happens 9 times as infrequently as, so there's math in there. So what we're trying to do is kind of embrace an innovative way of playing, but take in fans from the serious ones who really want to nerd out, on stats and research, and like they want to get into it, to casual fans who can just be like, you know what, I can't handle any of this. I'm just going to pick 3 teams. I hate the Steelers. I hate the Cowboys. I'm just going to pick them and root against them. So that's kind of, we want to make it for everybody. The nice thing about Loserball is that psychologically, unlike the time, the resources, the money that people spend on traditional fantasy, this is free to play. And if you lose at Loserball, you're just like, this is ridiculous, like you can't take it that seriously. I mean, it's a serious venture. We're doing it, obviously. We've got the math, we've got all the leagues, we're doing everything. But ultimately, it's about the sort of perverse delight of rooting against team. I mean, it's really like a mind shift. So you're, your team's on offense. Let's say you pick the Commanders. You're rooting for a pick 6. You're rooting for an incomplete pass. You're rooting for, if they get into field goal range, you're rooting for them to miss the kick. It's not like rooting for your team and the other team to do poorly. It's different. So we're kind of excited about it. Anyway, so just to jump ahead, we did the beta. And then from then until now, we've been prepping for our launch. So we launched this week. We have great advisors, Rick Wolf from Full Moon Sports, Ed Moed from Hot Paper Lantern, Ed Bunnell, great group of folks where we partnered with Fantasy Alarm and Better Sports Network. And they're helping us with our content. They're helping promote Loserball, where we've got all kinds of leagues, prize leagues, where people can win jerseys. We've got season-long leagues where people can win trips to the worst NFL city. Like it was Charlotte for the beta, maybe Charlotte again. We also have an experts league where we have these top influencers in fantasy who are all playing against each other in Loserball. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, we're also doing, we started a version of the Fish Bowl called the Flounder Bowl. And so the top 10 folks in that will get entries to Fishbowl for next year. So we've got season longs. Even if you miss the first week, people can join in. Go to loserball.com or app.loserball.com, and you can, it's not like a win-loss record where it's the number of weeks of the season. You can get, last week the highest scoring team was Seattle, -670. Everything's in negative numbers. So the higher your negative score, the better it is for you. Seattle, I think there's the highest negative total point thing that can happen is a safety given up. And usually there's like a dozen all year. As you probably know, the Hawks gave up 2 safeties in one half and almost gave up a third safety. So they had like -500 points just in the first half from those two plays. So the idea is, I'm just talking up a storm here because they're so excited about it. The idea is get the most negative points you can get, overcoming your team handicap. Each team has a handicap that starts in the positive, because we want to, literally level the playing field. So you don't just pick the worst teams and say, oh, they're going to do poorly. Like the Niners and the Ravens and the Steelers, they are horrible loser ball teams. So they have very low handicaps. Not surprisingly, the Commanders have a high handicap, but the Vikings have the highest handicap, and that's because they give up a ton of yardage, or have historically, and that's what we're basing the handicap on. And their kickers stink. So anyway, that's a little bit of that.
Jonathan, you're making my job easy here. You're making my job easy. I don't have to ask the questions. You just explained it all. Thank you.
Sure. You've done 233 episodes before this. I'm sure you'll find something to talk about.
No, I'll find something for sure. I was going to mention a couple of those names that you mentioned were on like episode 98 or something. I looked back real quick. Ed Moad and Rick Wolf were both on the show back in like 3-4 years ago. So it's crazy, the full circle of people in this industry. And you mentioned FSGA, and they're doing amazing things over there. And just I love the people of this industry, and just getting to know everyone. So a really cool circle that you're now a part of and really dove into. My question, I guess, is a little more personal. Like, did you ever dream you would be an app owner, or a website owner, an app owner, for lack of better terms? I mean, is that something that you were like 5-10 years ago, like, man, that's what I'm going to do, or that's what I'm going to have in my portfolio?
No, I'm a documentary filmmaker by trade, and we've done websites for our films, but that's more informational. And but I did find that there are some similarities to creating an app with creating a film, and that's sort of prioritizing what's really important to get to the MVP, the minimum viable product. Similarly, what do we need to get to our rough cut? What's really important to show or to have, and then moving forward, how do we have our short, medium, and long-term goals fulfilled as we move forward? And those are similarities. The difference is that a film, when you show it to people, we actually premiered a film on Tuesday night here in DC. People aren't expecting things to not work. They're like, it should look good, it should sound good. Whereas with an app, people are much more forgiving, and they know there's going to be updates. They know we're working on it. So that actually takes a little bit of the pressure off. It's not like we can't have, obviously there are, critical bugs, there are issues you got to fix. If it's not working, people aren't going to come back. But around the edges, you can do some work. So it's been really interesting and really fun, and really, it's been a learning curve for sure. Again, having guys like Rick and Ed, I mean, they're brilliant at what they do. Rick on the product side, Ed on the marketing side, just learning so much, and learning about this industry, learning all this terminology that I was not aware of. And, in some ways it doesn't apply to us, because we're not doing traditional fantasy. We're doing it in our own way. Next year we do plan to expand, but I'll wait for that question.
Well, that was next. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for letting me participate. Yeah, no, that was next though. So obviously you launched around football season, got NFL rolling. Expansion is most likely in the works. So what sports are we heading into? What's the expansion plan look like?
Sure. So thanks. That's a great question. I'm excited about next year. This year, the plan is to build up the user base and get people excited about playing loser ball, build up the brand name, and it seems like we're making some good headway in just a short period of time. Next year, we're going to introduce DFS style games with entry fees and cash prizes, and that will be done all in the same voice and brand of loser ball. So, very different than what people are used to in DFS. Shortly after that, it's hard to say when we'll get to each stage, but we definitely want to expand this concept to baseball, to basketball, soccer. My real goal out there is to get to India, where there's 200 million fantasy cricket players. And once I figure out how to play cricket, we can do a Loserball version of that. So that's kind of the vision for where Loserball is and where it's headed.
Is it still called a ball? I'm so uneducated in cricket. Is that a ball? It is, right?
You know, you had me. That's the thing. I was like, I was in South Africa actually for, I think it was the Cricket World Cup, and they took a 3-day test match and they shrunk it down to half an hour for TV.
Yeah.
And I was able to understand it, but that part of my brain seems to have, disappeared because I can't remember what I remembered back then. But no, they call it something else, don't they? They don't call it a ball.
I don't know, actually. My brain went to like, I don't even know if that's actually called a ball, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it would work. It would still work, but
Yeah,
that's an amazing vision. That's an amazing vision. I actually played cricket one time, and that's what's funny. Like, I had some friends that were really into cricket, and I tried to play. I attempted to play, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm like swinging like a baseball bat. I'm like, this is not going well. But anyway, that's another story for another day.
No, it's a huge, fan base and
Yes.
very passionate about it. And we started with North American football because that's kind of the biggest game in town, literally, here. And I actually know how to play, so made it easier.
So free to play this year, free to play right now.
Mhm.
What's the traction looking like for you guys? I mean, obviously you're very young, you're just getting rolling. Definitely have seen you guys in the press, and you're making some noise out there. And
Mhm.
congrats on that. So congrats on the early success. But talk a little bit to that. What type of traction are you getting from people? And are they having fun with it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, our user base is it's about 1,000. I mean, we just started, so it's not nothing, but we'd like to obviously grow that a lot. That's part of getting it out there with the marketing. But I think we haven't kind of dove into the stats, but a little bit. People are spending time on it. It's more than just picking the teams and then watching the games. It's also there's all this content online, all this research that we've done. There's team previews. There's kind of understanding each of the categories, and to I'd say really Fantasy Alarm and Better Sports Network, to their credit, they've really done some strategy, and it's like, okay, the Niners are maybe not a team that you want to pick, but who are they playing against? Maybe that's who you want to take. And so it's kind of cool. It's like, this is our baby, and it's born, and you don't really know how it's going to grow up. So there's lots and lots of content online where people can not only read about it, but kind of laugh about it. It's just like our voice, the way we're talking about it. The other thing that's really important is creating a community of like-minded loser ballers, I would say. And so we've just started up a Discord channel, and we're going to have in-app chat. We actually have it, but it has to get approved by Apple because of moderation, admin power, things that app developers have to do in order to satisfy the Googles of the world and the Apples of the world. But those will be things that are coming. And for people who are feeling like, I miss week 1, I'm out of it. It's like, no, you're not out of it. I was saying Seattle, teams are scoring 200-300 points, so you can score 1,000 points a week. And even if you come in week 2, you've got a chance. But we are going to start adding new leagues from week 3 forward, week 6 forward. The nice thing about a team-based game is, unlike with players, where it ends kind of week 15, week 16, because not every player is going to play. But if they're resting them or something, teams are always playing. So you can go right up to the end of the regular season. We've even talked about down the road maybe doing season longs, and then for the playoffs, advancing some of the top teams, and then doing head to head. We're not doing that now. We're keeping it a little simple. Just play 18 weeks or 16 weeks or 14 weeks or 10 weeks. I mean, there's still plenty of action that people can have, and the fun of watching it all go wrong.
Yeah, you've mentioned that word many times, which it's refreshing, right? Fun. This is meant to be fun. Obviously, it's a business for you, and it is serious. But sometimes I think in fantasy sports and sports betting, the more we get into the numbers and all this stuff, we all take it really, really seriously, and it becomes kind of like this, almost like a too serious sometimes, right? So I love the fact that you're kind of embracing the fun. You're trying to inject that fun back into the whole dynamic of fantasy sports. So that's refreshing to see.
We're yeah, I want to always remember that. Like, even though I'm talking about the strategies and the, who you're going to pick and who don't you like and what's the handicap, that's all in there, so people can do it. But ultimately, it's about watching the game and rooting in a completely different way, which is bizarre and fun and silly. And like, there, I've had all these anecdotes about like people watching, picking a team, and the kicker, like, oh, he made the kick. It's just like,
Yeah, you could. Yeah, there's so many ideas. I'm sure you guys have like so many game ideas and just different marketing ideas that can go around this. That's the beauty of it. Is it's the other beauty of it is there's nothing done like this, right? I mean, it's brand new idea, and there's many ideas that have been done over and over and over in better ways. This is a brand new idea, and so yeah, very cool, very cool. Congrats on the beginning stages of what looks to be a pretty fun product, Jonathan.
thank you. I appreciate it, Ryan. We're excited about it. We encourage. Thanks for having us on and
Oh, sure.
helping us talk about it a little bit. Again, it's easy to get in. It takes sign up, pick your teams, you're done. That's it.
I want a reverse Survivor. I'm sure you've already thought of that one, but I want the reverse Survivor because like this is the Survivor, right? You're always picking that one winner, but let's pick the one loser each week and see how long we can last picking one loser each week.
Well, I gotta say, picking losers is just like picking winners is hard. It's not so easy to pick losers.
No, I know.
Look at the Bengals and the
I
Patriots.
was gonna say Survivor wasn't easy. It's never easy. There's always like 40% of the people out after week one. So
Exactly. It's just, it's a new way to play. Fantasy's been going on for a long time, and I've always thought of myself as a contrarian. I mentioned growing up in New York, being a
yep.
Red Sox fan. It's like, it seems that, Loserball was always in my DNA.
Amazing. Well, what did we miss? Before I let you off the hook here, Jonathan, anything else you wanted to touch on or talk about before we jump off here?
Thanks. I think I've gotten all my points in repeatedly. Just that it's easy to play. It's hilarious. I think that's really what we love is like, especially recapping some of the week one blunders. It's like, oh, they gave up a touch. Like the Bills gave up a touchdown. Like tonight, it's the Bills Dolphins. So we're like, will there be? We did a little write up. Will there be some more bodacious Bills blunders or delightful dolphin disasters? It's just we're having fun with it. So we
Awesome.
encourage everyone to jump in.
Well, I guess lastly here before we go, you have an amazing team behind you, right? You have an amazing team of support. But if there's anything you're looking for, anything you need, there may be somebody watching that's like, oh, this is a cool idea. What ask do you have of the audience? What do you need help with? What are you looking to do over the next 6 months that you might need help with?
Oh, well, that's great. That does make me think of something. Well, two things. One is that, when people sign up, because we've just launched, we've got, a way to contact us if something's not working. Inevitably, we're every day we're meeting and like, what are the bugs? What are the little things we can improve? What's critical? What can we push aside? But also, we're a startup and we're bootstrapping. So, this is a serious venture. And if people are interested, investors are always welcome. So I appreciate you mentioning that.
Awesome. All right, Jonathan. Well, that was an amazing show. Really appreciate you coming on. I can't wait to circle back around in a year and get the update. So good luck and thank you again for joining me.
Thanks, and I appreciate you letting me prattle on without.
Awesome. Well, good luck this week. Hey, give us one loser. Who's going to lose this week? You have a loser in mind in the NFL,
Oh, I've been looking at the handicaps. I think the Raiders.
they're the loser of the week?
The Raiders, yeah.
All right.
They have a solid team, and yeah, they know what it takes to lose.
Sorry, sorry, Raider fans. You heard it here first. It's going to be a rough week for them. All right, Jonathan. Take care. Thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, that was Jonathan Gruber of Loserball. What an amazing show. Episode 234 in the books. Hopefully that made some people smile and, just really a refreshing look on the world of fantasy sports that we all know and love, right? So pretty cool product. I know they've been making some noise and got a great group of people behind them as well. So if you do want to get a hold of him, we will put the links and all that stuff in the show notes. So don't worry about like memorizing it all. We'll put it all out there, and I'll have contact info for Jonathan out there as well. Okay, I think that's it. Again, SBC Summit. Remember of that one. That's in 2 weeks. That's it for me. I'm Ryan Knuppel at KNUP. You can find me on all the channels. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, take care. Stay safe. Have a good one. Bye-bye.